Hello, my friend, and welcome back to another episode of Harmonic Habits, where we bring happiness, success, and harmony to you, your family, and your entire organization. So, I'm here today. I'm your host, Amy Thomson. I've got a very special guest who's a heart-centered person who's literally transforming lives all over the world. And the thing she's doing will knock your socks off. So, Wendy Huffman, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Amy, for having me on. It's just a pleasure to collaborate with you again, and excited to be here. I started a nonprofit called Let's Make the Difference 4 years ago. We are celebrating our 4-year anniversary this week, so it's exciting to be on to talk about it. We started out by we wanted to offer transformational courses to people in Africa. And we found out that there was limitations because of technology. So then we became like, okay, how can we provide internet and access to computers? So we partnered with local community centers, and it's just expanded. And we've had participants in 11 countries in Africa, and over 258 people have taken some kind of transformational course through us. So that's the nutshell.
That's amazing. I mean, that many people in that shorter time, because really it hasn't been too long. And I know the beginning is usually when it takes longer to get things going. So think about how many
Absolutely.
people that's going to expand to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've kind of pulled back to get the structures in place this last year because we kind of feel like we're at the tipping point. We're, like poised for like huge expansion, and we want to make sure the foundation is ready for that. So we've been working very hard on that behind the scenes and just taking a little bit slower out the gate on the front end.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Now I'm wondering, Wendy, like what was the single incident that had you decide you want to make a difference in the world, and why Africa, like as your main focus?
Well, my husband and I love to travel, and we we sold everything in 2013 and traveled South America for 2 years, and then we came back to the States because of family, and settled in Nashville. But my husband kept traveling, and I actually had signed up to do this intensive course for 7 months where I had to travel to Atlanta every weekend. And he said, "You know what? I've always wanted to take a trip around Africa. What would you mind if I did that?" And I'm like, "Thank you very much. That'd be wonderful if you were taking, I didn't have to feel bad about leaving him every weekend." So he took off to Africa. Every time when we travel, we look for nonprofits that were making a difference or people in the community that were doing things, and we would support them somehow, either volunteering or donating, or and I usually do a shout out on Facebook or something to try to bring attention to it. And we used to say, if we could be a spotlight and a megaphone to nonprofits doing good, that people would support them. People would find the passion that they identified with, and they would support that one. So anyway, when he was in Africa, he found a school that we were creating a fundraiser for them. And he spoke to the teachers there. He did this great speech called "Set Big Goals and Make a Difference." And a week later, he had a massive seizure and died of a stroke. Wow. There in Africa. So I flew over. They met me at the airport like family. I had talked to him on the phone. He had a habit of just introducing me to everyone, passing the phone around, and we just talked for 3 hours every day. So I was living vicariously through him, and I fell in love with the people there too, just like he had. And I when flying back, I realized like that was my last promise to him, that I would help them. So I launched Let's Make the Difference. I put the teachers and some of his friends that he'd met there through a course that was very transformational for us, and it kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah. That's a really crazy story to have it happen. Like, first off, to find that kind of connection with somebody where you both are so passionate about traveling and also making a difference for other people, like that is one of those things people dream of, right? And then there are people, I've heard stories similar to yours where it's like, we're doing this, and then one of the people passes or something happens and the legacy gets carried on. Do you think, and I know it was a definite tragic event for you to lose like your partner. Do you think that having that happen was a big catalyst for the difference that you're making today? Like, do you think if you guys were together, you might have just eased into your lives, or do you think that you would be as gung ho about really making a difference now?
I think it's an absolute catalyst. We had a good life, and we talked about making a nonprofit. I bought the domain years in 2010, right? The domain names. But it's like, do we really want to take this on? Do we really want to create a job for ourselves? We were pretty happy with our lives the way that it was and doing what we were doing. And having this got me through the hardest time of my life, And so I would say absolutely, it was, it never would have happened,
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
it. I mean, I wish it wasn't true, but it's like sometimes when something tragic like that happens to you, you have to find something to give it some meaning for you, like, how can I make this lemonade? I guess, I don't know, that's kind of a trivial way to say it, but it's like, how can I go on? What can I do?
I get it. I get it. My father passed away when I was 21, and I was questioning what his purpose was. Like, I was really like, I saw him doing all the fatherly things, taking care of everything that we needed. And he always talked about this dream that he had, but he never lived his dream. So then for me, that was a catalyst to start to help people see what their dreams were and to help live them. Right.
So
and I made a promise to myself that I would live mine. And I'm still working on that. Right. Like but it's never gone away.
That's beautiful, Amy.
Yeah, I get it. I get it, Wendy. So, now I know you work with different organizations, and I know I met you through Brian Patrick, and I know that you were working with Landmark Worldwide inside of Africa and things like that, and helping people to do the forum and things. So, what other organizations have you brought together, or what other projects have you done that really support your mission?
Well, I'm really excited. I mean, we pretty much anyone who, like, people will come to me and say, this is a need we have. And I'll say, are you willing to head that? If they say yes, that's something we take on. We have a permaculture division now that's it's a club right now, but I'm
giving you a big heart for that, okay? Because that's so important. And you know what?
Yeah.
There are going to be people on this who don't even know what permaculture is. So can you explain what that is for anybody who's watching who may not know what that is?
Well, it's sustainable and natural farming, using the resources of the land and also doing it in a way that creates a legacy that doesn't strip away anything, but actually makes it better for the future. And sharing natural alternatives to things. One of the best things, my favorite story from the Permaculture Club, and we just have a WhatsApp chat, it is one of my participants, Dorothy, in Zambia. She has an orphanage with 18 children, and she's one of my women leaders there in Zambia. And she was saying that the elephants trampled her garden, and this was their food. This isn't like, little salad toppings. This was their food. And she was distressed about it. She said, I've tried everything. And then Ali in Uganda, he posts that beehives keep elephants away. So we did a little fundraiser for her to raise some money for some beehives and, saved the food for the children. It's like, it's the collaboration that's so important, sharing the knowledge and the wisdom. But we have, that's just one thing. We're just launching a mental health division. Someone we work with a lot of within the refugee camps in Kenya. And one of my leaders was sharing with me about the suicide rate is so high there. And I thought, we have to do something about that. So you kind of put it out to the universe, like, who's going to step up? And so someone came through, his name's William, and he's a counselor, and he travels around Africa doing these seminars on mental health. And so that's still in development too. We haven't we've got all these little seedlings that are growing. But the one thing that is thriving is our women's division, and that's headed by Ginger Johnson. And in Kenya, our board in Kenya, Anmut Carney is the women's division leader there. And we partnered with the University of Zambia and the Alt Foundation to present this college course called African Women Leadership and Wellbeing. And that's been amazing. We have 70 women that have gone through that. And it's very transformative. But what we want to do is empower women leaders. We want to empower leadership all over Africa.
Yeah,
Because
there's somebody I really want to connect you with who's in Gambia, and
Oh,
who
wonderful.
is she's taking on climate change. And when you're talking about the permaculture and the community gardens, and you didn't say community gardens, but the collaboration.
Yes. Yeah, no, but it's a
Um,
big part of it. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, I would love to connect you with this woman named Fatimata. She's
Wonderful.
phenomenal, and
Look forward.
yeah, and she's got a podcast she's building as well to help sustainable living, and so I think it's a perfect match.
I've got several people that she could interview,
Definitely. So you do your collaboration, and I've got my Creative Collaboration Summit, which I'm going to put on the screen. But in a second, I want to show some pictures because you've got some amazing pictures. So yeah, this is actually where I met Fatimata, was in the Creative Collaboration Summit. And we connect with people, like for you, for example, with your mental health. I can actually support people with that from here. So if you want to connect me with William, your leader, for that would be lovely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great. I would love to have that blossom more. But it has to do, with funding and with volunteers and, putting people in place, and it's happening. It's just a little slower than we want.
It's always slow in the beginning. If you think of things, it's just like this, right? As you're ramping up, and then when you get known, and when people start to really see your vision, they can be aligned, and then it goes like that, right?
That's what we're preparing for.
Yeah,
We have
I can see it.
Yeah, we spent this last year. We have a 32-page business plan. I have 27 policy and procedure manuals. Getting the board in place, and it's coming.
I love it. And yeah, so you've been out to one of the summits before too, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah, and you met people as well. So this is good.
It was a great connection. I look forward to it. I need to get on your list and make sure that I know when they are.
Definitely. And I have to tell you, to be honest, we somebody on my team accidentally deleted my list, and then so we have a bunch of older, outdated things we're putting back together to put it in. Yeah, it's not a very professional business move, but these things do happen with companies.
It does. Especially
Yeah.
When we're at this level and we're building and ramping up, it's like things fall through the cracks. And
Exactly.
absolutely.
So yeah, so it happens now monthly. Before it used to be 3 days. Now, just for time and consistency, it's like once a month.
Oh, that's exciting.
First Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I will send you an invite.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to look at some pictures, because this, I think, was super cool. And I don't know if these are some of the women that you're talking about.
Yes, these are the women in the African Women Leadership course, and this is from the refugee camp. We have them in participants, I think, in three or four countries. We have Nigeria, Kenya, and Zambia right now. There may have been some from Uganda too. I'm not sure, but yeah, because now I delegate all that.
Yeah, isn't that a great space when you start to delegate? Amazing.
And but it's the reviews. Now this is Godfrey Sangu. He is our first introduction leader for landmark education in a refugee camp, and he is also my vice president on my board. He's an amazing human being, and is also on the board of a nonprofit. Oh, he started his own nonprofit. It's called Scorpion Control, where he teaches people about the different scorpions and what to do. A lot of people die in the refugee camp from scorpion bites, and so he has a whole training that he does to help people protect them and know what to do and know which ones are dangerous and which ones aren't. And he's a brilliant man. I'm so proud of my board. of
Yeah,
everyone.
I couldn't even imagine that life. Like I live in Canada and sometimes I feel really, really blessed because we don't have a lot of those dangerous things here. But then I got up today and I looked outside. I had my window open. Okay. And I'm like, we can only have our windows open a couple months of the whole year. So there's like this, well, I don't have a breeze most of the year and I'm inside. So, you kind of take the good with the bad, right?
You have to be grateful for the good, right? Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm grateful in the fact we don't have a lot of poisonous things, but I love sunshine and I love breezes, and that would be nice to have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they deal with, I've had multiple times, my board members have had typhoid and malaria at the same time even. And, it's like, yeah, they deal with a lot over there.
Yeah. So I know you're in leadership, and I know you deal with people in all these different circumstances. What are some of your secrets for bringing happiness and success to people? I'm Wait before you answer. I'm specifically asking for the viewers of this show right now, so that you can give any tips that might be for them or people that they can help with.
Well, first I want to speak to grief. Because we all deal with loss. And I was driving back from Atlanta on Bill's birthday when I found out that he had died. We called him to wish him happy birthday, and the detective answered the phone and said, "I'm sorry for your loss." And right before that, there was a woman chatting in the chat about losing her cat and about how devastating it was and how she was trying to cope with it. And at first I kind of rolled my eyes and I thought, and then I got like, the labels we put on things do not adequately describe the relationship that we have to them. Like, this cat was so important to her. Like, it was a huge part of her life, and then it's gone. And that happened like an hour before I found out Bill died. And I thought, oh my gosh, when I say my husband died, that means a lot of different things to different people, because people have different relationships, right? Or if I say my mother died, some people are just like, yeah, I lost my mom too, but maybe she wasn't their best friend, right? So it's like getting to people, like, your loss is important to you, and to not let other people or yourself even diminish it, or try to, like, how can I say this? Like, oh, well, it's not that bad. Well, oh, I just moved. I just left my home of 20 years. Like, get over it, like, really be with your loss and allow yourself to grieve for
Yeah.
whatever it is, because grief is cumulative. And if you have all these things that are piling up that you don't get complete with, it's cumulative, and all of a sudden you're in shock and you're just numb, and you don't feel anything. So I really think, to move forward through grief and loss, and change, losing a job, that's a huge loss, and there's grief over that, or a divorce, from everywhere in the family, whether it's your family that gets, someone in your family gets divorced, everyone suffers, but acknowledging that loss and really processing it, going through it, so that you can be free to love again, to move through that and go forward with your life, and reach out. And I didn't get counseling for over a year. I went to one counseling group, and it's like I didn't relate to anyone in the group. It was like, I didn't relate. So I just withdrew, and I thought, I can do this. I can handle this. And yes, just charge through and keep busy and do this and do that. And then I crashed and burned, and COVID hit, and and then it's like, then you have nothing to do but deal with it, right?
Yeah, I get it. I remember going to one counseling session with somebody after I lost someone, and it was a crazy experience. But when I was there, I was like, this person's not helping. I'm like, I have way more training than this person does. I know they're, you know what I mean? It's like, when
Totally.
I've been through so much training and everything else, and I'm like way older than this person. There's no way they could have done as many things or helped as many people as I have. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could just talk to my cat, right? But
That's how I felt. It was like I felt like I was kind of becoming the coach or the counselor instead of like, what am I getting from this? But I did. Somebody from hospice, a friend just called out of the blue, didn't know where I was, and I was in a like under the covers kind of a place, where I'm not being able to function, and I had lost my job, and I don't live close to my family. No one knew. No one knew that I was in bed all day with the covers over my head. And I would show up on Zoom, I got dressed for Zoom. Here I
you
am.
show up on Zoom, you put on that smile, you look like everything's amazing, and then you go, oh,
Okay, I'm going to crawl back under the covers, because I can't function, So,
I mean, I laugh about it and I say, oh, that's too funny. But it's like, I look around and that's how so many people in the world are right now. I remember this one woman, she said to me, she goes, I wake up every day just because of your show. And at that point, I just thought I was doing this show because it helps me to be around people, because people always scared me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna be authentic and kind of just do this as my practice, being with people. And then she told me that, and I was just like, holy crap, I really do make a difference. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it was actually a client of mine that actually called out of the blue and said, I sat next to a hospice counselor in church and I was thinking of you. And I feel like God told me to call you. Would you be open to talking to him? And I was like, actually, yeah, I really do need to talk to someone. Hospice offers free counseling, free grief counseling.
Is that everywhere or just where you live?
I don't know. It's not, I think it's in the US for sure, but there's got to be free resources out there if you look, and keep asking, like, until you find something. If you need free resources, just keep asking. And if you go to a counselor, you don't click, keep trying, keep finding, keep asking. Don't give up, because I clicked with him and he got me. Like, he respected my training, like you said. He didn't try to give me the rah rah about whatever it didn't seem relevant. He let me talk and work through it myself, and then just kind of ask me questions that made me see areas that I was shut down in. It was so beneficial. And then the best book ever is the Grief Recovery Handbook. And that book, do you know this? Are you familiar with this?
No, but there's a new one coming out that was literally just published that I'll share with you after. And it's I think it's going to be maybe not that good, but maybe that good or better too. Like, because it's new, and I know it's hugely transformative. So tell me about this book.
The Grief Recovery Handbook. It's a workbook. I think there's a workbook to go with it too, but that's where I learned about grief being cumulative. And they actually have you make a timeline of your life, putting the highs and the lows, the losses and then the celebrations. And you do this timeline, and then you get complete. You go through and you kind of resolve all those issues. Like, this happened, it hurt. And that's what's so kind of, and getting it complete. And I always use the analogy, like, if you have a desk, right, and you have every loss is like a book that's open on your desk, and they're stacked up, and you have no clearing. You have no clearing to work, because all these things are incomplete in your life. So going through this process helps you close these events in your life and put them on the shelf. Yes, they happened. You don't forget them, but they no longer impact you and hold you back so that you suffer from them.
That's amazing. Like, I never knew that book existed, but that's a genius concept, to do a timeline of the cumulative grief and have your highs and lows and like really get a chance to see it so that you can get complete with things.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Bill's dad died in October of 2018, and my mom, which was the reason we moved to Nashville, she died in December of 2019, and I lost my job in February. And then we debated, do we stay in Tennessee or do we go back to California with my kids? And we decided to stay because we wanted to travel. And then Bill went to Africa and died in April. So within 6 months, I felt like the four pillars of my life, like,
Oh,
and
I hear you. I've also experienced similar. So, yeah,
yeah,
no,
so, yeah, but, and so many things. And like one thing I really came to feel complete about was everything that happened to me happens to everyone. Everybody will lose a job probably at some point. Our parents die, our spouses die, people that this happens in life. It just doesn't usually happen all at the same time, you
right.
know, but having that perspective and just like, you know what, God isn't punishing me. I never did buy into that. We kind of get like life just keeps lifing
Yeah.
and
Can
there's
I
no
show
one.
you some pictures of lifing with you and your
Oh, sure.
husband?
Yeah.
Right.
I
I
love
want you to
that.
finish what you're saying, though. I didn't mean, I just got
Oh,
excited because you're like,
yeah.
life keeps lifing. And I'm like, I want to show people your husband and you. And
Yes, go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
I
because,
can talk pictures. Yeah. So this is okay. This was in Medellin, Colombia, and it's called the Color Run, and it's a fundraiser for a local charity, and you just run, I think it's a 5K or something, and you can walk or run, and they just have these stations that you run through where they have paint that they're throwing on you, and it was so fun. I'm so glad we did that. It was very memorable, and I don't know how many thousands of people were walking and getting color coded.
I love it. I love it. It's totally up my alley, too. And then
Yeah.
this one here.
This was actually in Seattle. We took a helicopter ride and we buzzed Bill Gates' house, which was really fun. I said, "Yeah, I did a flyby at Bill Gates' house," and that was a fun experience on one of our trips. We traveled. We like to travel and took one up and down the coast there, and that was fun. And
Sorry.
that's Machu Picchu, which is now closed to tourists. I'm so sad to hear. I haven't heard any updates lately, so hopefully things have been resolved. But there's some unrest, and some tourists were killed, and so for the safety, they just shut it down. So I was so glad that he and I got to go see that, and it was really
Yeah, because
great.
that's one of the ones on the top of my bucket list is I haven't been there yet. So
Yeah, we traveled South America for 2 years with a backpack. And actually, I jokingly say that because I ended up with 4 suitcases, and one of them, there's an 80-pound suitcase still in Peru waiting for me. My
wow,
Lord is holding it.
that's awesome. And
Thought we'd go back.
who are all of these people?
Okay, this is my family. I have 4 sons and 7 grandchildren, and these other 2 folks here are my daughter-in-law's parents, or mother and stepfather. And yeah, this is my family in California.
That's awesome. Was that at a special event or anything?
That was the June after Bill died, and
Oh, okay.
that was my birthday. That was my
your
birthday, and they threw a party for me. And I said the picture is the best part of it. That's what I wanted. Every year, I just want a picture for my birthday.
Now, were you like that before or after you lost people? Because I know my grandmother always asked for pictures. That was what she wanted, and I didn't get it when I was younger. I was like, oh, we got to get everybody together again, and
Yeah, I mean, it's something I always wanted, and we never made happen. So it was like something that they made happen for me. So that was really awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, you got to prioritize that. That's like, so my mom was my best friend and she passed away. And when she died, I just expected we would have so many pictures together because we had a really close relationship. But we didn't actually have that many. I was surprised. I was like, oh, I was kind of disappointed, but at the same time, I had like the best relationship. So
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, you have the memories, but it is nice. I know one of my sons is like, the camera kind of takes you out of the present, because you're focused on taking and you're not in the moment. But I'm like, yeah, but the moment lasts so much longer when you have that picture to remember.
Exactly. I get it, Wendy.
So there's a nice balance there. You have to find that balance.
Yeah. So would you consider yourself an influencer?
I guess I am. Yeah,
You are,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say yes.
Good. And when did you have that realization? And I know that I just threw that question out of
I
nowhere.
think just now.
Good. I thought that might be the case, right?
I'm like,
Because
oh.
I'm hoping that this show helps people to see some things and possibly get involved with what you're doing, right? And so I just want to know, like, why did you just realize right now you're an influencer?
I guess because you have, we put labels on them, like how many millions of followers people have, or are they a celebrity, or something like that. But I know I'm like the starfish thrower, it's like, um, I don't know if you know that story about the
No, I'm like,
little boy sees this man walking down the beach, and
oh,
there's
I do know
all
that.
these the hundreds of starfish, and he's picking them up and throwing them back in the ocean. And the little boy says, "You'll never get them all." And the man, you can't make a difference here. And he says, "Well, it made a difference for that one."
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
And imagine if we all made a difference for one person.
that's it. It ripples
Yeah.
out, because it's like the training that we're giving people isn't just for them. It impacts their families and their communities, and it ripples out. And even if we can't put everyone through these courses, but they can share their they can share their knowledge, and the impact of who they're being ripples out. So it's like I was doing an impact report for my business plan, and it's like, yeah, there's been about 250 people that have done some kind of course that we've offered, but the impact in the communities is like tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Right? Every community center impacts 70 people. It's $60 a month to sponsor a community center for internet. And that impacts 70 people. Like, where can you spend $60
$60 for 70 people to have, have
internet?
access to internet.
Yeah, access. And
Yeah.
some of them, when you talk to them, like, what's something that you really want? And he said, I just want to communicate with my family back home that I'm okay, because he's a refugee,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't have the money. Internet there is so expensive.
Oh,
So
it's
yeah, so
stupidly
you go to a
expensive.
community center, use a computer, and email his family that he's okay. I'm like, that's not very much to ask for.
Yeah, I work with people in various parts of Africa, and they tell me that the internet costs that they have to pay for is just compared to what their money value is just a phenomenally stupid price, and they have to pay for it.
Well, if you can imagine, $10 a day.
Yeah.
So that's $300 a month. I pay $80 a month for mine.
Yeah, me too.
So it's like, and they live. I mean,
Yeah. So
$300 is a really good job. If they make $300 a month, that's great. A lot of people make $80 a month, or I think a teacher in Zambia makes about $80 a month. So it's like, how can they afford a computer that's $700? That price doesn't change. We just
that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't even equate how things work. Yeah.
We can make the difference, though. We can make
a difference. Yes, you can go to letsmakethedifference.org, or you can also join your community on Facebook at Let's Make the Difference Global Community. Now, what you were saying also, Wendy, about like helping the one and then having them have a ripple effect, like that's why I started working with organizations. And you know how you were talking about people and the suicide rates being really high. Mm-hmm. So I could help one person, or I could help many that can help many. Right? So that's my goal, is like, as I help more people, I also teach people how to help more people, because we are all in this together.
Absolutely.
That's one of the catch-22s about the world, right? It's like, you think we're separate, but we're really not. We're all in this together.
And you know what? Fulfillment comes from contributing to others. And, all the success and all the money and all the wealth doesn't fulfill you. It actually is from reaching out and helping other people. And then all of a sudden you feel this sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, like, that's what I'm here for.
True. And on the other side of that is there are a lot of people who don't know how to make money, and they don't have the resources.
Yes.
And so I've been working with, so I got trained as a high ticket closer, and now I'm a coach, right? But And I also learned about the entrepreneurial operating system and how to structure all businesses right from like startup and beyond, right? So I brought all these things together because you're making a difference and I'm making a difference, but I also saw gaps, right? And if people are there and they're doing their heart-centered stuff and they're amazing, but they still are financially struggling, they can't be the people they want to be, and they can't have the lives they want to be, and they can't make the difference they want to make.
This is the number one lesson that I've learned. If I could share anything with people starting out with a nonprofit, like, you got to have boundaries and you have to have people that will keep you accountable for that, because I really had no boundaries, and I had to have some harsh some people had some harsh conversations with me about, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. You cannot save the world on your current income, and you have to take care of yourself. So that's been a huge shift. That's been something that I've been working on, and looking for people like you to help me put these things in place. And that's why the beginning of the LMTD Global Network of Nonprofits is, and we need to collaborate on this, because this is like, if we can come together. I mean, this is the collaboration with me, with the NGOs in Africa, and creating and supplying their community centers with internet. I didn't need to go build new community centers. They're already there. They just need support. And so it's like bringing people together. And I thought, if I can save the fundraising problem for my organization, I can solve it for everyone.
Right. Right.
So
well, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'm so proud of you.
I can't
proud
wait
of
to
you.
talk afterwards. We've got so much to catch up on.
I know, and I know we can support each other with our missions. Totally. I'm going to put your contact info across the screen for anybody who's interested in connecting with you directly. Okay, so there's going to be a phone number, an email, and Wendy told me that she's not the best at being on top of her email, like yours truly. So
yeah, text me first and let's set up a time to talk. That's the best way. Just text me and let's just reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also there's your Facebook on there as well, so you can connect with you on Facebook. Yeah. So what I wanted to know is, what are your plans, your future moving forward, and what do you need still to make that happen?
Well, I'm looking for the board for the network of nonprofits. And
what are the criteria for your board?
Really just the heart, like, whatever your skills are, bring them. I need I need people. I need, every position. It's just me right now. And so whatever you have to contribute, we need everything. One area that we're really working on with Let's Make the Difference is the participant engagement and keeping people engaged. Now that we have Chat GPT, like, woo, this is great, because of creating the emails and the blog posts and keeping in contact with these 258 people. It's been non-existent. I haven't been able to do it. I'm always looking forward to the next event, and then trying to find funding for the next event. And so the people in the past kind of fell through the cracks, except for the few leaders that we put through the advanced courses and stuff like that. So it's like, my goal is to really perfect the engagement, to keep people engaged, and to let them know that, how to continue on, and how to share what they've learned, and to let them know that how important they are to me, and to us. And so that I want to start that out at the beginning with the Global Network of Nonprofits. I want to start out with the plan, the strategies for engagement, even the business plan.
So do you need somebody to lead, like to lead that whole part?
Could be. Yes. Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, you need to stay where your gift is, right? Now, you could be that person that leads that and that, but if you get yourself too spread, it doesn't do anybody any good. Yeah. And that's when things fall through the cracks, right?
That's where I'm holding back. We've had 2 events, one every year. And like Giving Tuesday is a big one I want to prepare for. And then next year we have
Giving Tuesday.
It's in November.
Okay.
It's in November. And it on that day, it's the biggest philanthropic day of the year. Like they were projecting $4 billion would be donated on that day. So we did this event called Pitch Your Purpose. And I had 84 different nonprofits sign up for it. And it went 3 hours. And we just gave people like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to, or 30 a minute to pitch their nonprofit, their impact, and their purpose, and a need that isn't financial. Like, who are they looking for? What are they looking for? What would help for them? So, and we had celebrities drop in. I went through Easy Way promotions, and they did an amazing job helping, getting celebrities to pop in. And it was a lot of fun. And I have all this raw footage I want to edit, and I'm trying to decide, do I do it like in little increments and start a podcast or a show and interview people? And so that's something that's in development. But again, like you said, I can't take it. I need somebody who sees the vision, who'll come on and
you need an incubator. You need that, like, you're the visionary. You need to stay in that visionary space, and you need somebody who's going to like bring the rocket fuel like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody make it happen. Yeah. Other people to take the reins. And yeah. So I can keep speaking about it, and I can keep coming up with ideas, and people come to me. So
that's exactly it. Is if your mouth is closed, people can't know what you need. Yeah. But if you're speaking about it, somebody's going to come out. Somebody's going to be like, "Oh, I saw you on this."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I talked to Gary Vee one time, and in the experience, it felt like he handed me my ass. But really, looking back on the video, that's not what happened. Just in that moment. But people reached out to me after that because they were like, "I know what you're doing, and I want to help." And so it was really cool. So keep speaking up.
Well, and one other thing I'd like to say, one of the ways that I'm funding the nonprofit now is by being a solar consultant. And this was one of the big ideas. I was researching solar for Africa, and then somebody said, hey, solar in the United States, we are only 3%, less than 3% solar. And it's with electricity prices going up, it's a really booming industry. And so after some research, I found this company that's kind of a disruptor that's bringing integrity to the industry. It has not had a lot of integrity here in the United States. Yeah. So they're taking things by storm. I became a consultant. I'm working for my next promotion now, and I donate $500 for every project to the Let's Make the Difference. And this is the balance and the boundaries. Like, okay, I can make money to live on, and I can help Africa.
And and it's brilliant. And that stuff's like transferable, like the skills and the how to set that up. I have other people to connect you with in Africa. And again, like, this is because I do the summit. So I have people coming to me all the time with what they're looking for. Yeah. And that pitch your purpose thing, that would be ideal to not, like, they can come as well.
Let's do it again. Right? Yeah, I wanted to actually do at least like a show. A TV show. I've had a couple offers, and I'm thinking probably in the end of the summer we'll start doing.
Nice.
We'll have that and have that be like a regular thing.
Congrats. Yeah, I started out with that show, and then I changed my format. So amazing.
We learn.
I know, but we have a lot in common. So what's the biggest mistake, though, that you've ever made in business, Wendy?
Oh, that I just told you, my boundaries, like for finances, funding.
Oh, I thought there might have been something bigger.
No, trying to fund the nonprofit on my own savings and income, and then you end up like looking around going like, oh, it's all gone. Yeah. And when my husband died and I had lost my job, and I'd spent a lot of money taking care of my mom, and so it was just kind of like this, I'm not a numbers person, I'm not a financial genius by any stretch, and I have just didn't have good boundaries with that. And yeah, I think that's been it's been a hard lesson to learn, and now
what did you actually learn from it, though? Like, moving forward, what lessons can you give to, okay, so say there's like a teenager version of you, a 20, 30, 40, 50, even fast forward yourself as an old person, and try to give the lesson that would help save people trouble.
the miracle of compounding interest, right? Like savings, having savings and not touching it, like having the shift in the view of money. I have always like not wanted to deal with financial issues, and fascinated by money. I love studying how to avoid paying taxes, like legal tax strategies and stuff like that. But actually dealing with money has not been a strength of mine. And I've always had a husband that did that for me. So being responsible, like really, if someone could have sat me down and taken me through some courses about how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50 or something like that, like this is what you need to do. And then having someone accountable, like save 10% of your income, for crying out loud, put it in a savings account and don't touch it for anything, have an emergency fund, all these things. And it's like, and now I'm 63 and I'm just like, what happened? What happened? And I spent everything on Africa. There's no way on my income that I can save Africa. Like, how arrogant of me to think somehow my little meager savings was gonna, and other people want to help. They want to contribute. So not having a solid fundraising plan and a strategy for funding the organization at the beginning, it was all kind of, we were all joking, like we're flying the plane as we're building it, and it was funny, and we accomplished a lot. I think that in 2020 we put like 54 people through the Landmark Forum, and but it's like not sustainable. Create a sustainable plan. Like, sometimes the urgency of the moment, overshadows the projection for sustainability. Like, how long can we do this? And there were people that, donate. A lot of people donated to support individuals and things like that. But it's just like we would sign people up and then go try to find the money, instead of like, what's our budget? How many people can we actually register and support, without having the stress where at the last minute I just go pull it out of my savings, So yeah, that's I value those kinds of advisors. I need someone to tell me, like I called my advisor yesterday, Ginger, and I was just like, I'm thinking about just getting a credit card to get my board computers, and internet, because it's so difficult for them to function on their old cell phones. They need new cell phones and they need computers. Maybe I should just go get a loan. And she's just like, no.
that voice of reason.
Yeah.
But is she like the no, but let's look at how you can do it? Or is she just the no? Because
she's like, it's all coming. Like, I've got deals that are closing. There'll be $500 for each deal. That was the strategy. That's the plan. So then it's just like, no, I'll just go borrow it now and then I'll pay it back. It's like, no, you can't keep doing that in your life, right? That's a really bad strategy for sustainability.
It is a bad strategy. So you said a lot of great things in that. And I'm just going to be authentic about this, where I would have faltered with that is people could give me the plan, but I need the consistency and the accountability. I need people to talk with about it. And like you said, I asked her and she said no, but it's like, I need that brainstorming component to it too, right? So here's the issue. I would like to do this. That's not going to work in our plan. What else do we see, or who could make that happen, right? So I need that person who not only has that business sense and loves, like I love crunching numbers. I really do have a thing for math, but I don't love to do the details over and over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I mean, we could do a fundraising campaign. We could do a project. We could do, there's things I could take on, but they're work.
Yeah, they're work.
It's not me filling in a credit application's easier,
Yeah.
But that's a pattern. That's a negative pattern I've had in my life. And so it's like,
it's a negative pattern, but it's also a personality trait, and what you love, other people would hate. So who do you find that's the key person. And I'm going to ask you one more thing. You said something about having a solid fundraising plan and having the accountability around it. Like a lot of people who are watching this right now, they're either going to be doing their own nonprofit stuff. They might want to start a business. They might have already started a business and they're looking for money or fundraising. What advice would you give somebody who's looking for someone who could help them? Like, do you know where to go for that, or what do you?
Well, the network of nonprofits is going to be answering that question. There's we're going to have several different strategies that it shouldn't just be one thing, right? Like the solar is an option. I donate $500 to any nonprofit that will bring me, leads, and there's lots of industries that will. You can go to a real estate agent and say, if I bring you what's your referral fee? I'm not sure what's legal in some states. You might have to be but they can make a donation. They can make a donation to a nonprofit if a nonprofit brings them a client. So it's like there's a lot of organizations out there, and that's what the network of nonprofits is going to be focusing on, is helping nonprofits solve all that, like getting the structures exactly like what you said you do, like helping people build the foundation, getting the structures and systems in place. This is what's most solo entrepreneurs don't know how to do.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it in, because I struggled with that. And so now, like, I learned all the pieces, but then I also became somebody who can bring in this consistency and this training and this pattern, right?
That's such a gift. I mean, that's huge. That's what
I combine that creative, like that crazy wild idea out there, with the practical, like, let's ground this.
Accountant. We need an accountant. We need a financial, a CFO. We need somebody to crunch the numbers and say, this is the budget and this is what you can do. And
exactly,
and then the visionary, the fundraising person. And so all of those things I'm creating, of bringing people together to brainstorm, having a mastermind. The network of nonprofits, I want it to be a mastermind group and fill in the gaps for each other and collaborate, who needs what, and I have that and I can provide that. I'm partnering with another nonprofit that they've been established for 48 years, and it's kind of been inactive for a long time, but they don't have beneficiaries anymore. They've been inactive so long. I've got lots of children you can help in Africa. I've got 3 orphanages that are my partners, and so we're creating an ice skating program for them. So it's like there's that's the collaboration.
What is this matchmaker, right?
Yeah, that's it. A matchmaker. Yeah. So it's like a mastermind too. We can come together and say who needs what, and then people can create courses, and then we can support each other with courses, either bartering or offering something. I got a call yesterday. Something I'm really excited about, and I don't know the name of it. I might be able to look up real quick, but it's at the University of it's UCLA, and it is a course about sustainable creating a profit-making enterprise to support a nonprofit.
Yeah,
and it's a 6-month course, and I'm applying for it, and I'm pretty sure anyway.
Yeah, it's so important for people to know how to do that, because like I even have somebody right now who comes to the summit, and he's like, well, do I create a profit company or a nonprofit? But everybody who is very successful that I know in the States who has the nonprofit, they have their profit company with a nonprofit arm of it, right? So they're 2 separate things, but they interact perfectly.
Yeah, and there's how do you set that up? And I still have questions about that for the network of nonprofits. Yeah. How to set that up? Yeah, I can't find it right now, darn it. But we'll be able to. We'll meet again and we'll talk about it as soon as
we will. I know we got to wrap this up, so I'm going to rapid fire some questions, and then I'm also going to share a couple websites as well. And I'm going to ask anybody who's watching this, if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube. You might be watching this on YouTube, but if you're watching it anywhere else, subscribe to my YouTube. It's Amy Thomson, and it's at Affirming Arts on YouTube. Okay. Also, my website here, amythomson.vip, if you want to know about some of the things that I offer. And the Harmonic Habits, this is specifically for companies and organizations who want to bring harmonic habits to themselves, their organizations, and their teams, also which transfer into their families. So check that out. Thanks. Had to do a little bit of promo, and now I can continue on with the show. All right. So, Wendy, if you were to have one single word between A and Z, what would it be if it's going to bring happiness and success to people?
Equanimity.
And why did you choose that?
Equanimity is the balance and the steadfastness to be able to stand in the face of any circumstance. And life will keep lifing. Like, bad things happen, and it's not personal. It's just life. And the expectation that there won't be bad things happening is what throws us off, right? Something bad happens and we go, why me? It's like, why not you? Like, there are refugees living in, dirt floors with waiting in line for water. Like, bad things happen. So equanimity is just being solid in your core, in who you are, and knowing that the universe is still working for your good. In my opinion, that's my belief. And life will keep lifing. So being able to stand in the face of it, that's, to me, the secret.
That is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. Oh, I forgot to turn off my alarm. That's not good. Sorry, I usually have a call at this time. It's so funny because it's like these things come up in the show and a lot of people would edit them out. And then I'm just like, you know what? This is life. This is life. Let's move on.
Life keeps lifing. Right?
Life keeps lifing. And it's perfect time.
Perfect. It's not going to be perfect.
Perfect
Don't expect
timing.
it to be.
That's awesome. Well, Wendy, you've been absolutely phenomenal to be on here. I'm looking forward to collaborating with you. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you in this session that you want to talk about?
Oh, I can't. No, I don't think so. And I'm just so happy to reconnect with you.
Me too. Me too. I'm going to put your website back up here if anybody wants to connect with Wendy. All right. And any change makers out here, and especially people who are good with money or who know how to balance things and know how to do all the
fundraise.
Yeah, fundraise.
And hey, if anyone needs a solar system in the United States, my goodness, we are the lowest pricing. We have the best guarantees, and you will be making a difference in Africa.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, anybody who can help out with Wendy in any way, shape, or form that you heard in this, please do connect with her and also join the Facebook community for Let's Make the Difference. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. It was phenomenal, and I'll see you later.